Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
This is Rolling Intentions. My name is Jason. I changed up because he says, you always say welcome to Rolling Intentions.
More epic. This is Rolling Intentions.
So there you go. Introduce everybody. Today on the podcast, we have
Brad Kosh,
Mike Beeson,
Donald Reed,
Charles,
Charles.
Xavier, Charles Xavier.
And today we're playing Dogs in the Vineyard by Vincent Baker. It's a game that you guys are going to find out that's kind of interesting. There's a certain moral ground, so I don't know if everybody knows like the laws and rules of Mormon religion. But
only in so much as I make fun of them.
yeah, there is actually like about 4 pages in here that kind of gives you like an idea
Of what Mormonhood is like?
Yeah, and I could run through it quickly, just kind of branch through it. Yeah, maybe I'll do that first. So actually, I'll just do the actual intro right at the beginning, so you guys get an idea of what's going on. Dogs in the Vineyard is about Dogs in the Vineyard is about God's dog watch. Can you someone else read this? Because I'm obviously stupid and can't read.
No comment necessary.
Dogs in the Vineyard is about God's watchdogs, young men and women called to preserve the faithful in a hostile frontier territory. They travel from town to isolated town, carrying mail, news, and doctrine, healing the sick, supporting the weary, and pronouncing judgment upon the wicked. One early playtester said what she loves about the game: a town welcomes you with celebration and honor, but what you're there to do is to stir up its dirt and lay bare its sins. The setting is a fantasy inspired by pre-statehood Utah, the desert territory in the early mid-19th century. Picture a landscape of high mountains, icy rivers, and cedar woods, falling away westward into scrublands, deserts, buttes, and swells. The summer skies are heartbreaking blue, but the winters are long and killing. Picture religious pioneers fleeing persecution and violence in the east. They're trying to establish a society based on faith and righteousness out in this frontier. They've made the long trek westward, but they're still in danger. Their towns are small and isolated, vulnerable to attack from without, sin and corruption within. Under pressure, their pride becomes sin, their anger becomes violence, their resentments become hate. Winter and the demons howl. Picture God's watchdogs holding the faith together.
And you guys are the God's watchdogs.
Yeah.
Woof woof. Vineyard. Yeah, woof woof. Alright. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So, it gives you an idea about the game. And I think you already kind of said it. So that's some of this backstory you might need to know about. And now we're ready to make characters. You're all from 16 to 20-year-old virgins.
Yeah. Hit me with that.
That doesn't feel familiar at all.
Alright. So we're going to get you to choose a couple of things from each person. You guys can change it. It's all going to be based on your background, so you have to kind of talk about your background and stuff too. But the first thing we do is we choose one of the backgrounds. So I'm going to give Brad the first choice here. Here's the choices you get to choose from. You get well-rounded background, which will give you certain dice for your traits and certain dice for your... we've got strong history, complicated history, strong community, complicated community.
complicated history.
Ooh, complicated history. Okay, so write down these numbers, but don't put them into any stats. So put them in here in the dice thing.
In the dice thing?
Yeah. The numbers are 15d6. That dice. Is that there? Okay, and your traits, you'll have 4d4.
Oh, right here.
Yep. And your traits. 2d6.
Also in traits?
Yep. 2d10. You'll have 5d6 for your relationship dice, and 2d8. So relationship dice.
5d6.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, is this glossy too? Shit. Sorry, guys. And what did I say? 2d8.
Also in relationships?
Yep. And I'll explain how I distributed those in a moment. Relationships. Oh, there's quite a belongings on here. Oh, it's a different looking sheet than we used to. Cool. All right, so we're going to go to Mike.
Right.
You have well-balanced, strong history, complicated history, strong community, complicated community.
Well balanced, I'll go with.
Well-balanced. All right. The strongest, I think, in certain aspects. They have 17d6 stat dice. That's what it is in stats. They have 1d4 trait, 4d6 trait, and 2d8 traits.
46 and how many?
2d8. For relationships, they have 4d6 and 2d8. I'll explain all this as we're going through it. It's just whatever you want to pick. Well-balanced, strong history.
I'll take a strong community.
Strong community. All right. That'll be 13d6, and then it's for trait dice. It's 1d4, 3d6, and 2d8. You get lots of relationships. You got 4d6 relationships, 4d8, and 3d10. And how about you?
What are the choices? Well-rounded, strong community.
Complicated history. Strong history, complicated history, strong community, complicated community.
Ones have been taken already. Well-rounded, strong community.
Strong. All the. You picked complicated history.
Yeah.
He got well-balanced, and he got strong community. Strong history hasn't been chosen.
Complicated history it is.
Complicated history? Okay. You picked complicated history, right? Yeah. So complicated community?
Complicated community.
Complicated community then.
Sure. You're all from different communities, so you're just all in Niagara Falls, when you got trained. Choose this if you... Okay, well, maybe I should go down through it really quick here. So well-balanced is choose this if you want your character to be straightforward, balanced, and effective. Strong history is choose this if you want your character to have good education, lots of experience, and specialized training. Complicated history is choose this if you want your character to have overcome a troubled, dangerous, or challenging upbringing. Strong community is choose this if you want your character to be socially adept and from a strong, caring family. Complicated community is choose this if you want your character to be socially vulnerable or from a broken or in crisis or destructive family. Excuse me?
Yeah.
So, okay. So yeah, 15d6. See, you had a bit of a bad upbringing, but hey, who doesn't, right? And stat dice is 6d6 traits, 2d8 for traits. And for relationships, you get a ton. 4d4, 2d6, 2d8, and 2d10. Lots.
44, 2d6, and 2d...
Sorry. That was my bad there. It's 4d4, 2d6, 2d8, and 2d10. So you know those stat rolls you have. We're going to divvy your stat dice between the 4 stats. Don't roll dice now. Your character stats are rated dice. My character has 4d6 will, you might say. Then any particular stat comes up, you will roll those dice. So the minimum stat is 2d6, and I'm going to explain what the different stats are. Acuity is more dice in acuity means your character is more perceptive, alert, educated, clever, savvy, and well-read. More dice into body is your body means your character who is big, healthy, strong, muscular, tall, graceful, quick, and steady. Heart is your character is more compassionate, attractive, charming, gentle, courageous, alluring, faithful, or likable. And wellness is your character. Will is your will. More dice in will means your character is more tenuous, aggressive, confident, unflinching, strong-willed, and unshakable.
Okay, so I split up my 15.
Yeah, into those 4 stats. You just put the numbers in and
Alright.
d6 them at the end.
So 66, 1d6, 66, and 2d6.
Can't do a 1d6. The minimum is 2d6.
Minimum's 2d6.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright.
There's no maximum. There's only a minimum.
Alright, so body and will are 2d6, acuity and heart are 6 and 5d6, respectively.
So you're heavy on the heart?
I'm very perceptive and compassionate.
Yeah, perception, compassion. Cool. And what about you?
6 in body, 5 in will, 2 acuity, 2 heart.
All right. So you're not overly compassionate and driven, but you're big and alert. Well, right? Because acuity says high, right?
Yeah.
Acuity is low.
Oh, what was your big ones then?
Will and body.
Will and body. Oh, so you're aggressive and big, or big and strong-willed, or big and unshakable. You're just a big guy. Don't mess with me, right? Yeah.
I'll go to the Giants for now.
Cool. I'll do the Giants, sure. He's a big guy. All right, cool. What about you?
5d6 acuity, 4d6 body, 4d6 heart, 4d6 will.
Yeah, so you got
I'm a well-rounded
everything. You're
guy.
a well-rounded guy. Yeah, that's true.
I'm a little bit of
you,
everything.
You get the most dice, right? But they get interesting traits. And what about yourself?
I've only got 2d6 acuity, 3d6 body,
Yep.
but I've got 4d6 heart and 4d6 will.
Nice. He gets the lowest stats, but that's okay. He gets it all in traits, which I'll explain now. All right, traits.
Yeah, you sure do.
Yep. In relationships and stuff. All right. Now that you're ready, I want to give you some ideas of what these dice are used for. Okay. This is a conflict system only, so you don't roll for tasks. If you want to break down doors, you break down doors. If you want to pick a lock, you pick a lock. Whatever. Well, not really that good of an idea to pick a lock when you're or everybody's sort of like a holy man, right? But if the result come up, you don't do conflicts for that unless it's something that could. Unless you can have conflicts with inanimate objects.
Okay.
But it has to be something that has a stake involved.
Right.
Right. And these are how the dice work. Each one of your stats will always be paired up with another. So if your character is just talking, it's acuity and heart. If your character is doing something physical but not fighting, it's body and heart. If your character is doing something fighting or doing something with fighting hand to hand, like using weapons and whatnot, that's body and will. And if you're shooting, if there's a gunfight, it's acuity and will. It escalates. So you can start talking to somebody and eventually escalate up to gunfighting. Any stat that you don't already have rolled, you get to roll in for extra dice.
Oh, okay.
But you're changing the narrative. The worse the situation gets, the higher that the escalation goes, the more fallout you can take. And fallout is how you die.
Oh,
Okay.
All right.
20 dying.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah. The way the fallout works is talking is D4s. Anytime you take fallout for and I'll explain what fallout is. Anytime you take fallout from talking, it's D4s. So you, anytime you take fallout from physical non-fighting, it's D6s. Anytime from hand to hand, it's D8s. And anytime you do fallout from gunfighting, it's D10s. What happens is when you get fallout, which I'll explain how you get fallout, you take those dice, all the fallout dice together, based on when you take fallout, and you roll them all together, and you take the two highest dice. Whatever that equals to, you look at the chart, and that's what happens here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And that's how that works. This game plays like poker, so
So what, two highest and add them together, or two highest and...
you add them together, yeah.
Oh, okay, so I need to
For
roll
fallout.
two 10s on 2d10s to die.
To die instantly, but if you get a 16, then you can continue dying. Right? There's ways of just dying from D8s.
Yeah.
Yeah. These gunfights are very dangerous.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
Typically.
we're going to do traits now.
Bullets hurt.
So we create traits with your character. You divvy your character's traits between dice with them. So all those things you have there, like your D6s, your D8s, and traits, we're going to start divvying traits to them. You cannot mix, before I go into what they are, you cannot mix dice rolls together. So you cannot mix a D8 and a D6 together. It has to be either 2D6 or 2D8s or 1D10. You can never mix them up.
Gotcha.
Okay, so, and here's how it works. You create your character's traits as tidbits of your history. For instance, you can have a trait. I used to break horses with my dad. You can phrase them as simple facts for your character. I've worked with horses and I know how they think. You can also praise them as skills, as horsemanship. You can praise them as attitudes. I am very comfortable with working with horses. You can't give your character more traits than you've got a dice to assign. You cannot double up or triple up with a different dice trait. If you want to, you can have horsemanship 2d6, that's fine. Or horsemanship, but you cannot have horsemanship 1d4, 1d6. Just isn't. Right? I prefer to write 4 or 5 traits and then divvy the dice up between them. If you guys are having problems thinking of traits, which obviously you all are, because you're like, what the fuck? Try doing this. Try starting off with, I'm a good shot on your character sheet. I'm a good shot, it's always a safe one to take. Now ask yourself, where did my character learn to shoot? From whom? What were the circumstances? Tense a second trait out of those circumstances. I used to hunt with my brother. Or, I once killed a wolf that was killing my family's calves. Or, I fought a year in the Territorial Army. For your character's third trait, choose something that's unrelated. I'm a good cook is good too. Maybe I'm well read. or I know the names of the constellations. Then you're on your way to giving your traits. D4 traits are because of the most of your character's opponent's dice are going to be D6s or better. Rolling D4s makes it more likely that your character will suffer consequences in conflicts. The most straightforward approach to D4 traits is giving them as disadvantages. I'm scared of horses, or I get winded easily, or my eyesight isn't too good. But consider them as seen as strengths as well. I'm a good shot. 2D4 means yes, your character is a good shot. But when guns come out, life gets difficult. Since your character is a dog, I'm a dog makes it for a very sensible trait. If you do not take I'm a dog as a trait, then you have to take a dog as a relationship.
Okay.
And the way that the game works is when you put your traits in, you pick a trait that you wrote down that's relevant to the certain situation, and you narrate it into the game.
And a dog, being
For
a
instance,
dog has to be a trait or a relationship.
Yeah.
It has to be there one way or the other.
Right, and you can make it a D4. If it's a D4 means it's probably a complicated thing in your life.
Right.
If it's a D6, it probably means it's a good thing, and the higher
D10
dice is
better and better.
Right. Also, keep in mind too that the way that the traits work is like, for instance, if you tell somebody, it's like in an argument, and you're like, blah blah blah, and you're like, well, I'm a dog, so I know what's between right and wrong. Then you get to add your dog dice to it because you use I'm a dog in the narration, right? Or if you're like somebody's running off in the distance, and you're like, and you have one that's like I'm a good shot, you could be like, well, first of all, I'm a good shot, so that's a D6 to not pull, right? And that's how the traits work. So think about your character. You had a big bustly character. Why is he so big?
From years of working out at a saloon in Arizona.
Oh, is that his complicated history? Like, why is it? Okay, let's go through that. Like, why is your character? What's so complicated about history?
Got caught fooling around with his cousin, and his family, being deeply enriched in the Mormon faith, wanted nothing to do with him.
Okay, sure.
So they offered him the choice between self-penance
Yeah.
or leaving.
So basically, they said that like you can go be a dog, which basically guarantees your virginity, right?
Or
leave the family, get kicked out, go to the east and fend for yourself.
Mm-hmm. So he took option to leave, but on the way out he was ran down by a dog that already and forced penance on him of castration.
So, what was you actually? He forced you for castration.
Yeah.
So you're castrated? No.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So.
Well, a trait could be. I don't know how you would get a trait out of something like that. Oh, well, you can always make a negative trait if you have any D4 dice.
Yeah.
I'm castrated.
Right? Well, that or you can say ran down by a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anytime that a dog would come into it, you could be like, well, I was once chased by a dog, so I know how to get away from other dogs. Right? Yeah.
I mean, a dog escaped.
And then you put a stat next to it, like the 2d4 or 1d4, however d4s you want to put to it.
Okay. So how many traits should you try to?
4 or 5.
Okay.
Right.
So I'll do like 2.
And so anything else you can get from that? So you were chased down by a dog. Okay. And you fooled around with your sister. Well, what's the whole idea with the cousin?
Cousin. Not
Yeah.
completely crazy.
Does your character understand the meaning of lost love?
He doesn't regret his actions, but he lives his entire life now with a certain shame and fear of women.
Kind of carries
Yeah.
it around with him on his shoulders as baggage.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Well, that could be a strength too. Can you make a strength out of that?
Well, that's why he got hired
Yeah.
to work in the whorehouse, because there was no way he was going to touch the women.
You can always say unseductive.
Unseductive? Yeah.
Yeah.
Seductive.
Yeah. Or unseductible. If a woman tries to hit on you, well, you got no worries. They ain't getting anything out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a strength, right?
Feminine proof.
Yeah, feminine. It's like, oh, they're trying to work me over. It's like, nah, ain't gonna work, bitch. Bam. So
Denied.
you got an idea, so you can probably get some more out of those. I'm going to go to you. So well-rounded. So tell me a bit about your character. Like, where does he come from? So he's kind of like the average Joe, but you know he's got definitely good stats, which means that he was probably the most sought after person in the group, right?
I'm well disciplined. I learned.
Yeah. Where are you from? Are you from like a small community? Are you from like Bridal Falls itself? Are you from like a ranch, or where's your family from?
Start off
But it's okay,
in
though.
Bridal Falls at a
Yeah.
young age.
Okay.
And I'm well disciplined from being part of the faith early on.
Okay.
And in order to help hone my discipline, I took part in martial arts.
Well, okay, perfect. Yeah, all right. So it'd be like martial arts might just be one, or I can take a kick, or I can give a kick, or you can put it any way you want. Statements kind of work the best. Putting them into like a little statement or a little something like that is really cool. Or I can defend myself when needed, or I can take a punch.
I can defend myself.
I could defend myself. Okay, good. The other thing you could do is you also could be like unshakable, or unshakable belief, or unshakable faith. So if someone tries to skew you away from your belief, you'd be like,
Okay.
"Bitch, you don't know the faith like I do, right?" Right.
Unshakable faith.
And then put a dice tray to it. But you got 2 traits, so you want 2 more. You'll be fine. And how about you?
Well, growing up, I'm 17 now. I've always had like a strong sense of community.
Right.
And, but I was active in the community as like an entertainer.
So you had a good family.
Yeah.
right?
Oh, absolutely.
So your family like always kind of worked together, like.
Yeah, well, we put off shows. It was somewhat like like a circus for regular people. But I mean, we juggle, we do off like little tricks and things like with card decks. And,
Okay.
Well, something that struck me as it stood out with me more so than the rest of the family is I commanded the audience more so. Like they were always looking at me. They
So,
jeered more. They loved me.
Was the entertainment business run by the faithful, or was it outside the faithful?
It was for the Mormons by the Mormons.
Oh well, the book, like the
By
faithful.
the book of, the faithful. Sorry,
yeah.
yes.
I know. I know it's going to be hard because it is. Yeah, because there is a lot of Mormonists to this, but yeah, it is the faithful.
Yeah. But for the faithful, by the faithful,
Okay,
for
cool.
in the evenings,
Perfect.
time.
Awesome, singing praises of the God of life.
Totally. And as a kid, we'd go out into the surrounding area, and I was somewhat of a slingshot pro, but if I was to stand amongst like the regionals, as it were, I probably wouldn't be the best. But
So
in my town,
what do you have down for trades? You got a couple there already.
slingshot pro, so I was like
Nice.
pretty good with that. But if you were to put my gun in my hand, it probably wouldn't go so well.
Okay.
And I'm a bit Armstrong. I used to sling haystacks around all the time, lifting and unloading the carts and stuff all the time.
Do you have all your treat lists done?
I have 1 left. I have
Okay.
1 D6.
I'm gonna let you figure that out because I actually want to go around like once everybody's done, and we'll do a complete recap of everybody's character.
Sure.
And you got all your treats done?
Yeah, pretty much.
What's your history?
I came from a more complicated history, so I figured I was the one in the family who everyone would always lean on when they were hurting emotionally, because he was too faithful to want to nose around in other people's business. So he never knew like X had raped Y.
Oh.
He just knew that Y needed help.
So your family's just full of sinning. You're like the white sheep of the family.
The white sheep. So I'm a dog is my 2d8 trait,
Yeah.
and I've seen a lot of hurt for my 66.
Nice. Wow, you went straight to all of them, hey?
Yeah, I figure like the more dice means more chance of a complication as well, right?
No. Well, yeah, sort of, but
I don't know
more
what complications are yet.
No, but if you think about it this way, if you put too much emphasis on one trait, then if that never comes up, then you got less dice, and less dice means you're probably going to lose the conflict.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Losing is fun.
You will get more traits and stuff as the game goes on, and relationships and shit.
Yeah.
Just know that the traits are like you'll get D4s from Fallout and D6s, and you can upgrade it and stuff.
Yeah.
But I've seen a lot of heart. It's pretty good. It's pretty broad, right? But you do have to narrate it in, and don't narrate it in very half-assedly. Like I'm getting into a fight, and I've seen a lot of hurt.
I was intending more emotional than physical.
I know. But we had a player who was just like,
is it broken?
Yeah, hands of God. Every time I use my hands, I get 2d6. I'm just like, no. That's when you when you described it to me originally. It was like when you announce that your hands are the instrument of God.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Not when you're like fiddling around with something and
I'm writing a lot.
my hands are God's hands.
You got this Rubik's cube.
Yeah.
My hands are hands of God.
Exactly right.
This isn't helping.
Yeah. So it was just stupid. But everybody got their traits done.
Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna go on to relationships. Don't write too many of these relationships. These are dynamic. When you start meeting people in the game, they don't even have to be main characters. But characters that you want a relationship with, you start putting in relationship dice as we go.
Okay,
However,
so we can keep some in stock.
Absolutely, and in fact, you should keep most of them in stock. Have 1 or 2 relationships starting out of something to do with your past. It could be a member of family, but it has to be a person or organization. So it could be the dogs. If you don't have I'm a Dog, you have to pick a relationship called Bridal Falls or the dogs, right, as a relationship. And relationship dice work a lot differently, where relationship dice are only used if it's about, if the stakes are about the relationship or with the relationship.
So what is this blood 1d6?
Bloodline, they're free. If a person comes up that's ever part of your actual bloodline, a cousin or an uncle or brother, and I can guarantee you it will, because it has to. You all have like 7 or 8 different brothers and sisters, unless you indicated otherwise,
yep.
Right? And a million cousins. So, in communities of about 20 or 30 people, you'll see one of them, right? You automatically get a d6. However, if you ever want to give them relationship dice higher than a d6, you have to make them as part of your relationships, and they come off your bloodline list.
Okay.
Okay, so I could have like a brother and a sister for a relationship. Put 1d6 in each and get 1d6 free, so that each
bloodline you get for free with 1d6. However, if you ever want to make them different, even if you want to add another d6 on, or if you want to
it becomes separate,
or increase the digit or something like that, then you have to erase it and spend the dice as though they didn't exist.
Okay, so if I only have 2d6, that'd be 1d6 each, and I wouldn't get anything free.
If you want a 2d6, it'll be 2d6 spending.
Yeah,
because
that was my question.
The d6 is just free, just because they're a bloodline. You have some kind of indication with them, right? That's it. So you can put a relationship in there. It could be a bloodline relationship as a d6 for free, when you put a bloodline relationship in there, just put a bracket around the d6 so that you know that it's just a free one.
Go ahead.
So a relationship is one-to-one thing. Like this is a person I have a relationship with. Or is it more with a group? Or
it could be an organization, a person or individual, and that's it. So it's like the circus could be one if you wanted it, right? Yeah. Or the family business or whatever. That could be one.
And what's the name of the town again?
The Bridal Falls is a city.
What city?
But you won't be starting at Bridal Falls.
Is there any minimum relationships to start off?
No.
It's already suggested to start off.
The more you write down, the more ammo I have for when I do my shit.
Do I have to name the characters, or just say like
if it's a brother, you don't have to name if you don't have the name immediately. However, it's best to do so that I have a name to go with. And anytime you talk with someone who's in the faith or faithful, use brother or sister.
Okay.
Brother, and use names from the Bible.
Okay.
Because
Brother Mark and
or even like from the Old Testament, like Abadiah or Brother Edwin,
Abram.
Yeah, those really old names. The Mennonites names stuff too, right?
Okay. Oh, and as dogs, inherently we're all male.
You don't have to.
Okay.
There are females. However, the females role. Okay, so after dogs graduate from their dog school, some can retire or whatever. So they get a bunch of suitors.
Okay.
Right? They can suit up with anybody. However, they can decide they don't want anybody and continue going on.
Oh.
They have. If you're a female, you take the role as a female. You have to have a suitor, but you can deny suitors. The oldest people from the bridal falls will always take the youngest dogs that come out. However, they can decline them. But they're the only people in the faith that's ever allowed to decline somebody of that high up in the faith.
Okay.
Right? Anytime an older person, like an older person from Bridal Falls, would ask a woman out, that's a high, respectable thing in the faith. However, as a female dog, you are allowed. You can take. That's the only role change that you can take on. Basically, is unmarriage. You can decide to remain as an unmarried woman.
Okay.
But eventually,
You're expected
you're expected to marry. Yeah. But you don't have to worry about arranged marriage.
Right.
That's one bonus. Like, so if a woman ever wanted not to be an arranged marriage, then be a dog. And pretty much after 20 years of service or 10 years of service.
Yeah, then settle down, have someone take care of you.
Yeah, if you wanted to or whatever. Yeah.
Well, in this case, I guess you'd be the one taken care of. But
Yeah. But yeah, you get an idea. So it's a little bit fucked up.
cool.
Right.
Only a little bit.
Look at your brain's being wrecked. You're like, fuck this.
There's just many things that are occurring to me about this type of power structure, the power structures it would create as a result.
Yeah.
And I'm not actually seeing how it's stable.
It's not. That's why you guys are here to fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Why it's a game.
It is.
I don't see why the whole dog thing is stable either.
It's not. Dogs go corrupt all the time. They just get new dogs. They brainwash kids to do work for them. Go out, take care of duties. Like, for instance, your duties usually are delivering mail and shit.
Yeah.
So basically,
It's when you're in the town, and when I put you in there, there's probably something wrong.
Yeah.
So yeah, do a lot of fishing around. There's lots of layers of sin to discover.
Back.
so
Yeah,
Some
like I said,
crusty layers of sin.
So-
yeah.
overall, the faithful system institution relies on external human resources to remain stable. Okay.
Yeah. And the idea of sin makes you go to a bad place.
Yeah.
And the idea that the faith, as long as you keep the faith within the community, nothing bad will happen to you. So that itself makes it as much stable as it can be.
Yeah.
But yes, it's very much the reason. Because, like I said, poking fun at the religion, right?
Yep.
It's a theocracy that will never ever be a utopia.
Kind of hammers it in really hard.
Yeah. So the last thing is belongings.
I've fins.
Name some things you care to own, saying give them dice to warrant them. This is a Western, so you're going to have the Western guns, except for instead of the six
Six-shooter.
we're talking about Colt Navies. The big fucking guns with the you have to pull back the hammer and take out the cartridges and
Man.
yeah. In order to get the bullets in there, you have to have like a little thing to help you get the bullets in.
yeah. So we're talking about pellets, not about bullets, huh?
Enough to rip a hole in somebody. But the gun is not big, it's small. It's like small cannonballs and a pistol, right?
Yeah, so we're talking about pellets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Hand shotguns.
yeah, big ones. And he has like a bit of a fetish for guns, like the author. So every time he talks about the guns, it's like these massive guns. And he talks about the guns in great detail about how big the guns are and how and how hard they are to load. And
This one
shit.
slightly resembles my penis.
Well, exactly.
It's a bit smaller, but
Yeah, you get a rifle too and stuff or whatever, right? But so the stewards at the Dog's Temple make sure that every dog owns a horse, a coat, a copy of the Book of Life, a small jar of consecrated earth, and a gun. Those are the things you get. I'm going to explain how they all work in a second, but just write them down with some space next to them.
What was the list again?
A horse, a coat, a copy of the Book of Life, a small jar of consecrated earth. It's like your holy water in our world, right? In this world, it's clay from a riverbed, and a gun. Your coat is important to you. Everybody has a coat, and the coat is the responsibility of the coat belongs to the community that you're from. So, in your case, your family, your sisters, your mother, and nieces, and all them have put thought into your coat design. So we're going to talk about your coat very soon.
cool.
Because it has to resemble your family
It's
without it.
part of my family's
Yes.
impression of my personality, I guess you
Yes.
could say.
Well, yeah, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
It's basically when you're wearing it as pride for your community. And so everybody got like you would have one too with your probably the bridal falls kind of like the idea of it. You would probably
What color would Shane be?
oh yeah. Well maybe it's a tattered cloak. Maybe it's just like a half-ass put together one, and it's like they got somebody else to make it for you.
And
Maybe they didn't even do it themselves. Maybe they got someone else to do it, or maybe it's your father a dog. Maybe it's your would it be like your dad's or uncle's like old cloak, hand-me-down cloak. Or is it somebody that died? Maybe someone else in your family shamed and they died, and they were also a dog, and you got their cloak or something like that, right? You can do whatever you want, and then you'll have a cloak from.
I think my family with the classy route getting someone else to make it.
Okay, so then they just got someone else to make the cloak. If you don't have a coat yourself, the Bertholds will provide you with one of their generic cloaks, but it's clearly like generic.
yeah.
Yeah, and people will recognize like that
Brown
coat's
duster.
much different than everybody else. Yeah, basically, yeah. But you wear your history on your clothes.
So what would the generic coat look like?
What would it look like?
We determined that.
Yes.
See, I'm imagining a trench coat. Is that the type of coat we're talking about?
Yeah, we can talk about that. It's like a poncho-ish type of coat. Something
Western style.
Yeah, Western style poncho, right? So it's like you would have it around you like a cape almost, right?
Yeah.
It'll come down over you, and it'll resemble your
I was
past.
picture more of a vest for me.
Sure, that's just fine too. Like it's okay to, as long as like it shows, it's probably got the symbol on an embroidery on it somewhere that shows that you're a dog.
Right.
Right. All right. So just keep that in mind. Now, what I want you to do is do this. If it's a normal item, write 1d6. If it's excellent, write 2d6. If it's big, write 1d8. If it's excellent and big, it's 2d8. If it's crap, it's 1d4. If it's big and crap, it's 1d4. If it's crap, excellent, and big, it's still a 1d4. Because it's crap. Here's the difference between excellent and big. If it's excellent, it's only excellent if people meeting your character will notice and comment on it. Oh, that's a mighty fine horse. If it's big, somebody may say, holy smokes, that's a big knife. So, keep that in mind. So people will notice the size difference or how excellent it is. It could induce greed, or it could induce other sort of pride.
Do we give traits to our coat and the Book of Life?
Absolutely,
and the Consecrated Earth?
all of it.
All of it?
Yeah.
Cool.
Alright, so
And
my
can you
coat is
say
crap.
that the grading again for us?
Sure, it's normal is 1d4. So if it's like the average.
It's
if
like
it's
that
excellent,
thing
it's 2. Yeah, there you go.
If it's excellent, it's 2d6.
Yep. If it's big and excellent, it's 2d8. But keep in mind, big and excellent would mean like it's big and excellent. Like it's, you may get some comments on it, right?
So,
And put some character with it, of course.
under things dice here, it says guns plus 1d4.
Correct. Anytime you put a gun in there, which I haven't got to guns yet, when you name a gun or a rifle, you add a 1d4 to whatever you have. So if it's crap gun, it's 2d4. If it's big and excellent, it's 2d8 plus 1d4. Just remember that 1d4s are a bit of a complication. Even though they give you more dice, they could get you more fallout. That's why d4s are in the game.
You have to use one of each, I assume?
Nope. You can use as many as you want. In fact, I even encourage you to make up more items and put whatever dice values you want on them. Keep in mind, these are all items that you would be able to carry with you from on horseback, from town to town without being slowed down.
What do you call those
Jar
things
of
that go
tea.
around your head?
Sure, jar of tea. Oh yeah, and by the way, talking about beverages, wine is illegal and liquor is illegal, but like low-end like Bailey beer or like the really low alcohol beer and tea and stuff like that is okay. Things that cannot make you drunk.
2d8 wine it is.
So that would be
yeah.
illegal.
So I could have a big excellent Book of Life and a big excellent jar of tea leaves.
Sure.
And my coat is 1d4 and everything
Crap
else is normal. I have a crap coat. I think
Is there anything else that your character may have that your character might just have? Could be anything. Could be like a pack of smokes. Maybe not. No, don't do that. Maybe an old lighter or something like that. Hey, you're crushing me,
I
smokes.
just want a pack of smokes.
Or something like that. Like add items that even give you character too. Is okay.
What's the thing called? Goes in? It's just a headband, isn't it? Yeah.
Headband?
I don't know why I couldn't think of that before.
Is anybody here like mountain folk?
Not I.
No? Everybody's born of the faith? Okay.
Well, for some
That
definition
could be a
of the faith.
faith.
Right, so you're the... So is your character from the East?
No, actually, I think my character is probably from
What about your family?
probably from the center. My family is probably from the center
Oh, yeah?
too. They're just really not good people.
Would you go back and like fix them now that you're a dog? I mean, they are bringing suffering upon everybody else in the community because they're sinning.
I think I never want to see them again.
Oh, that's a bit of a moral thing. That's interesting.
On one hand, I have the moral obligation to go back and fix them. On the other hand, it hurts me to even think about them.
Ah.
I gave myself a 1d4 relationship with both my mom and my dad.
That's good. Did you give them names yet?
I haven't. I probably should.
I can give you some names if you wish.
I think my father would be Abraham.
Yep. Your mother could be Patience, Obedience, Submit.
Grace.
Yeah, Submit is actually one of the names, yeah.
Okay, I'm going with Submit. I'm going with Submit.
See? What?
Okay.
These are those names.
Prudence. Mind well.
Yeah. All the women names are very much like passive names.
Fosia? What? Temperance, obedience,
Wait still.
Submit.
Wait still.
Submit, yeah.
Holy fuck, what the hell? Wait still? What? What?
Wait still is probably my favorite.
And where do you put the family names and stuff to?
That's a relationship.
In relationships, if you want to give it a dice trait other than if it's a blood relationship, if you want to give it a dice trait, you use it from your pool. If you want to just make it a bloodline, it's a 1d6, but anytime you put any points into it, you have to erase the 1d6 and put your dice numbers into it. Including if you want to make it an official 1d6. You don't get a 1d6 for free, but that's only if you don't do anything with it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Obedience and Submit, that's killer names, right?
Wait still.
Wait still, yeah.
I think I'll call Jessica with potential name.
Wait still. Wow.
I think my coat is just a simple black coat made of cheap material with meaningless embroidery.
Okay.
Meaningless embroidery.
Meaningless embroidery. I
Haphazard.
hired someone to make it look fancy, and he was just like, well
And it has like the whole the tree. It's the tree of life symbol. That's what it is. The tree of life.
Okay.
So you actually do have the tree of life. Actually, is like two U's, and then two like L's. That one like kind of weird shaped L's that kind of go corner to corner.
Okay.
That's basically the tree of life. So it's a U under a U.
So
So it's a U under a U, and then there's two L's going opposite ways.
Oh, I see.
Right.
So it's something like this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Something like that. It's let's see if I can find it here. Oh, actually, no, I'm wrong. That's a tree of life symbol. Sorry. It's on the bottom of every page.
Oh, okay.
That's nothing at all like what you said.
Sorry. It's actually at the end of every page. It's there. I should have known that. Oh, sorry. Yeah, so that's what that tree of life symbol is. All right, cool. Now we have your characters done. So, what I'm going to do is go around to the table. And we're going to talk about your characters a little bit more. Right, and we're
I
gonna
don't even have a name yet.
get your name and stuff. You have a lot of stuff about your character, but it's definitely a good name. Would you like the book for names?
I think Pleasant.
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 Yeah, sure.
I can have Gander.
All right, I'll let you kind of. If anybody else needs any names, feel free.
We can make up our own as well, right?
Yeah, as long as that they fit into the
Macias?
Sure, Macias is fine. That sounds very.
Ezekiel.
Ezekiel's already in there, yeah. Okay, so.
What? Ezekiel?
Ezekiel. So we're going to start with, what's your character's name?
Joseph Young.
Joseph. So, tell me a bit about your character. We already went into some details, but let me tell me your traits, your stats, like everything in your character sheet that we would need to know.
I have 2d4
Yep.
for, like we were talking about, ran down by a dog.
Ran down by a dog, yeah.
2d6.
That's a good one, I like
Unseducible, a dog for life. Because he's never going to marry afterwards, so he's just going to remain a
that. I
dog.
love it.
2d10, direct descendant of one of the originators of the faith. So coming down to bloodline.
Oh, wow.
So that's anytime I get in situations, people with that will use the director.
Yeah, or anytime you can narrate it.
Yep. And 2d4, fear of blades.
Ooh, you have a fear of like knives and stuff?
Yeah.
Cool. What happens when your character sees knives usually? To get jittery and...
It's the cold sweats, yeah.
Okay, cool. And what about your relationships? Do you have any?
Well, Amidad got worked in there.
Yep. Well, that'd be Amidad, but you have a relationship with the dogs.
With the dogs, yeah.
Yeah.
So he's got the cousin lover.
Yep.
He's got his father is also named Joseph.
Okay.
The whole string of family is all named Joseph.
You haven't named them yet, but you don't have to worry about that right now.
Okay. And I got the mother there too.
Okay, cool. And anything else you want to add about your character, about your belongings?
I'm carrying a bow and arrow on my back.
Okay, why are you carrying a bow and arrow on your back? That's a very weird thing.
Picked it up from an Indian that was also at the whorehouse.
Oh, the mountain people.
The mountain people? Okay,
Yeah.
so I can't go to the whorehouse.
Well, they're not called Indians.
Oh, okay.
The mountain folk is...
We're calling them mountain folk instead of Indians?
Yeah, that's why it's called the faithful to the Mormons and the mountain folks to the Indians.
Ah, gotcha now.
It's to make so it doesn't directly
it's not
insult somebody.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not offensive, but it's still harmful.
Okay. And my gun is polished and it's unused.
Yep.
At this point. Mm-hmm. The horse is 2d6.
Yep.
The coat is tattered.
What's your course's name?
Oh God.
Okay. You don't have to name it if you don't want to. But, is it just something that's... It's a 2d6, so it's an excellent horse.
We'll call him Trigger because...
Alright, Trigger. Trigger is an excellent trigger. An excellent horse.
And the coat is tattered. It was his father's cloak.
So let's talk about your horse for a second, because it is an excellent horse. Mm-hmm. Like, what kind of horse is it? Is it like...
I'm forgetting the name of those. The big black...
Stallions?
Yeah, like the police horses. Like the big black...
The great horses.
Great. Oh, the gigantic ones.
Yeah, I forget what the...
So it's not a big horse, it's just but it's a smaller runt of those family, or is it big and excellent?
Oh, it's a big one, but he's still a young horse.
Okay, still a young horse, but he's an excellent horse. Cool. How did you get him?
It's now that I've
Is it
returned.
because
Now that I've returned, all of the things that were my family's have come back to me. Even though I shamed the family, but the family kept the shame under wraps.
Right. So because you have a complicated history, so really your community isn't so bad. So they basically came to terms once you graduated.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And they gave you the horses to your graduation.
Mm-hmm.
So like getting a car for graduating. All right. Cool.
Okay. And I got 2 D8s on my Book of Life because it was the one that's been handed down.
It's a
through the
big
generations.
book, so this is like the book that has like all the hidden scriptures in it, and all the
comments.
Yeah, all the comments on the side, because your father would be like the bloodline of the founders or whatever it was. Yeah. So like it has like all the stuff like things to edit or comments on each area. So like when you're pushing over, when you
move this paragraph.
So like when you're going through the scripture, like your scripture has like it's so easy to find. You just basically it's all tagged on the side. So like you're like it's like you have like little letters on the side, so like it'll refer to like a certain thing. So you just go, well, it's already outlined for me. I already know.
In case of beer,
chapter.
In case of horse.
So yeah.
Oh yes, please. I see.
Excellent. Cool. I like it. Anything else?
What's my, the Jar of Earth is only 1d4.
So small?
Because instead of a jar, he took a music box that was his cousin's when he left. And now he keeps all the dirt in this music box.
What? Okay, cool, whatever.
I like it.
Yeah. So you have some holy consecrated earth.
Just floating around
Play
in a music box from his cousin that he tried to have a relationship
And I
with.
anoint you.
You're all anointed all at once.
Nice. Cool, that's
The
awesome.
last thing they hear before he does his penance is...
Oh, the
Awesome.
burdens he must live with.
That's awesome. All right. Your name,
Macias.
Macias. Tell me about some of your... You can go through your stats if you want to.
Alright, I have 5, I actually thought it was 5d6 acuity. I put 4d6 acuity,
Okay.
4d6 body, 5d6 heart, and 4d6 will.
Sure. And what about your traits?
My traits, I went 2d8 for I can defend myself. 2d6 in unshakable faith. 2d6 I can take a hit. And 1d4 I'm a dog.
Perfect. The 1d4. So why is being a dog complicated after having after being brought up in that like brought up as a dog? Like, why is it complicated?
It's complicated. I also don't fully understand the whole dog thing right now. So
you're basically the person who keeps everybody else in line with the faith.
Okay. I can work that very easily with that.
Well, everything in this game you can pretty much work a negative towards.
Yeah.
This game is very negative.
My Micaeus is very kind-hearted.
Yep.
He doesn't like the idea of basically pushing people who don't need to be, or who he doesn't think deserve to be pushed the wrong way.
So basically, his like in meditation and in martial arts and stuff.
He's very passive.
Right. Even though he's got the ability to defend himself.
Yes.
And probably he learned a few things that he shouldn't have learned probably during, his meditations and whatnot. Why do we fight? Like, why do we do all this stuff when we're not, when I'm taught during martial arts to defend yourself, not to go out and do things.
Yeah.
Yet that's my job.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, so it's a bit conflicted there. Cool. And what about your relationships?
Relationships. I went 2d6 for a love interest.
Okay. So we'll get to that later.
2d6 for a stalker.
Oh, yeah, one a stalker, okay.
1d8 for my best friend.
Okay.
And 1d8 for my mentor, the one who trained me in martial arts.
Sure, okay. We'll give those names later. And what about belongings?
I have a coat, 2d6. My horse is 1d8. My book of life is 2d6. My jar of consecrated earth is 2d8. I like my big jar of earth. I have a 1d4 gun because I believe more in defending myself than using a proper weapon.
Yep.
I have a headband as it was given to me by my mentors.
Was there anything that was excellent or big?
Yep, 2d8, that's big and excellent, my headband. It goes right around my head and extends just like the ends of
Why is it bigger than your head? Like, where'd you get that from? Is it from your mentor? Is it like a significant story that it's so big? Is it from like, is it like a headband from...
It's a headband that was passed down from my mentor to me and passed on through a...
Does it resemble anything? Is it like part of like the mountain folk headband? Is it like a big leather thing?
I like to think that it's...
like a victory token?
Yeah, like a victory token, okay.
Yeah.
I can go with that.
We'll say like a victory token of like when converting them into the faith, like for instance they converted somebody important and that was like a chief leader of one of the things.
Like it is really big. It can go around my head snugly, but all of the leftover... Like,
is there feathers on it and stuff? Will people mistake you as a mountain folk? No, probably not, hey?
No.
No, especially with his dog coat.
It does have feathers in it, so it does actually resemble something that a mountain folk might have had.
Okay.
But considering my my slightly over average body size and whatnot, and my coat, people would not mistake me for one. If anything, they would think it's a trophy from me conquering one.
Right, so a mountain folk might take an insult to that if they've seen it.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Cogs are turning.
You can hear them screeching because they haven't been oiled or used in a while.
More than 1d4.
Is that everything? Or?
I wear sandals.
Sandals, okay. 1d4, 1d6.
1d6.
Yeah.
I wear a ring, which is 2d6.
Okay.
And I also wear a judo belt, which is again another 2d6.
Okay, cool.
Which is also very similarly designed to my headband.
Cool. It was an excellent judo belt. Awesome. Alright.
Alright, I'm Jackson. Come from a strong community. I'm only 17 now. Same age as Link, but we don't know anything about that. I'm not very... I don't know how to say that in another way. My acuity is not very low high. It's 2d6. Yeah. Body's 3d6. But I have a lot of heart and will. 4d6.
Acuity is like your perception, right?
Yeah, I didn't know how to say that as like a quiche.
Oh, okay.
Thing, you know. Anyway. Traits. So I come from an entertainer background, circus folk, so I got 2d8s there. In my town...
So how did you pronounce that? Like in your traits, that 2d8. How did you write it down?
Oh, I wrote it down as I'm an entertainer.
I'm an entertainer.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm also a slingshot pro from my town, but went to regionals once and I wasn't so hot. So I give that a 1d4. So it's better than some, but worse than most.
So it's something that you keep close to your heart, but it's something that complicates your life.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm proud of it, but
Did something happen for make it so complicated to even to have the slingshot? Why would you carry a slingshot around?
There was a lot of talk. See, there was just regionals one year. It was it takes 4 years to make it to this one. This is like a Olympic type thing, and I had a lot of support on my side, and I was pretty cocky at the time, and I was pretty all about it. And this guy was really quiet, and he was concerned, he was very concentrated. And when it came down to it, shot for shot, he beat me every single time. It was Pleasant from, yeah, I'm going to do that now. It was Pleasant.
I beat you in a slingshot contest? What?
No, that doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't quite fit. No.
Not at all.
You can make them a different relationship. It doesn't. Is that quite? This is not bonds like Dungeon World, so it's okay to.
It was Jebediah.
Jebediah. Okay, sure. You have a relationship with Jebediah?
I do now.
Yeah.
We've been rivals ever since, but it's something he doesn't take as seriously because he doesn't see me as quite as good as him.
Yeah,
so
you're not competition.
Yeah, exactly, right? But so that's why it vexes me so.
You keep it though.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. What else do you have for traits?
I'm very arm strong. I do a lot of heavy lifting around the barn, lifting up big wagon wheels, lifting up haystacks, just chucking them on the wagon.
So you're always the guy that everybody relies on. You're like, hey, do this for me. You're like, sure, I'll do that for you.
Open a lot of jars.
Yeah. Hard labor.
And I'm a bit of a flirt.
Okay.
Just unknowingly, it just happens.
The opposite of this guy over here.
Exactly. I bring the ladies around.
And what do you got for your
relationships? Well, there was this blonde from the barn one night. Still. Wow. We got pretty. We met up a few times.
Is this before or after you became a dog?
This is before doghood.
During training or?
Yeah, it was during training, and we kind of had to cut things short because graduations, priorities in life.
Yeah.
But we got intense for a while. It was a 3d6 relationship.
Okay, cool.
And also, whenever I see anybody from my family circus from town, it's 3d8.
So you have the whole organization.
Tight. Oh yeah, we're pretty tight.
What do you have for belongings?
When I graduated from doghood, everybody in my family, all the women, contributed, and they made this beautiful, colorful patchwork cloak. So I have this coat of colors, as it were.
Oh, like a techno-colored gin coat?
Absolutely, yeah. This is 2d6, very fine quality.
Yeah.
You can see it a mile away.
Sure.
But also, when I graduated, I didn't there was no guns in my family. We were very peaceful.
Oh.
So I had to get one of the loaner guns from the Dog Academy. It was like I got last pick that day. It's a crap gun.
Oh, it's a crap gun.
It's no
so it's 2d4.
Yeah, 1d4.
No, 2d4.
Oh, 2. Okay.
Because you get a d4 automatically.
Right.
Because it's a gun.
Right. Okay. So as a result, then, just as I was on my way leaving town, one of my closest friends, he understood my rivalry with Jebediah, and he heard about my gun, and he gave me his very special handcrafted slingshot. It's really high quality. It's really good, so I do carry that around.
Sure.
I also have the family prize horse, Cleveland.
Oh, cool.
Beautiful big bay horse. He was an albino horse.
Oh.
So he's beautiful white with these fierce red eyes.
Cool.
I just got a regular book of life. We didn't care much about books, so I just got one from the academy before I left. And I've got this consecrated, big jar of consecrated earth, nothing too special about it. And juggling balls. Really big juggling balls.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Alright, awesome. You need to keep in training, eh?
Yeah, oh yeah. I got it's something to do, right, while I'm riding around. Just to balance on the horse, juggle some balls.
Cool.
That sounds
sweet.
Crazy. Yeah.
And lastly.
Alright, so my character is Pleasant. He comes from a complicated community. So, he has a lot of acuity, he's 66, and a lot of heart, 5d6, but his body and will are both the minimum at 2d6. His traits are, I'm a dog at 2d8. I figure that coming from a complicated community, he found himself in the religion that his parents kind of ignored.
He made a new community. He made new brothers and sisters among the faithful.
And so it matters a lot to him. So it's 2d8. He looked into it a lot. And I've seen a lot of hurt, 66. Growing up in a large family with abusive parents, he kind of, whether or not he actually looked into the causes of anything, he knows how to calm people down and make them feel better.
Sure.
So his relationships are as such. Submit and Abraham, his mother and father, he both has 1d4 with them.
Okay.
He does not get along with them, but he does get along with his little sister Mary. She was one of the his favorite sister basically.
Gotcha.
And she was always in need of a lot of help.
Cool.
So his coat is just a simple black coat, cheap material with meaningless embroidery. His family hired someone else to make it, and they didn't give a shit.
Cool.
His horse and his gun are both crap. They're his father's horse and his father's gun.
And they didn't have any maintenance on it or anything?
No, not at all. So the horse is, half the time it was starved, half the time it was overfed, half the time it was in a stable that hadn't been cleaned for months.
And his horses are jittery. They're hard to take care of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. His jar of earth is just normal. His book of life is 2d8.
The big, excellent book of life. How'd you get that?
Big, excellent book of life. He went out looking for it because being a dog meant a lot to him. So he wanted to have something that kind of stood out as a very heavy symbol. Because his coat.
So you have a lot of notes in yours too, or?
If there's any notes, he's wrote them himself. I imagine it has a really nice covering, and maybe it kind of has that kind of cover that goes over the sides of the pages, so nothing ever gets damaged. Kind of.
Perfect. Okay, so this is your solace. This is your pillar.
Yes, and when I open it up, the pages are big, but there's not that much extra written on them. It's just all for notes to write down the side,
okay.
And nothing's been written yet.
Nice.
Besides that, he carries a big and very high quality jar of tea leaves and a knife. If someone's in trouble, he brews up tea. It's the first thing he does. Have some hot tea those times.
Excellent. Cool. Awesome. All right. Cool, guys. So you guys got pretty detailed characters now.